Hi everybody, we're going to go ahead and take notes on Chapter 5, Lesson 5.1. Hi, Ro. All right, let's review how to go ahead and take notes. There's a couple ways you can go ahead and do it. At this point, you should know what works for you. If something hasn't been working, you may want to try a different method. So you may want to go ahead and hit pause and copy everything down that you see up here. You may want to go ahead and not write anything down and just listen the first time and then go back and then write everything down. Or you may want to go ahead and write, pause, listen, write, pause, listen. So be aware that there are different ways that you can go ahead and take notes from the video. So there are 4 vocabulary words that you need to be familiar with. A ratio is comparing 2 quantities using division. A rate is a ratio comparing 2 quantities, but those quantities have different units. For example, miles per hour, dollars per pound. A unit rate is a rate with a denominator of 1. So when you're being asked for a unit rate, you're finding for 1 of whatever they're talking about. Complex fraction is a fraction that has a fraction in the numerator, denominator, or both. The first example that we're going to talk about is completing a table using based on what you know or what you can figure out from ratios. So I have square feet and cost. If I'm going from 100 to 400, I know that's times 4. Therefore, in order to figure out what that square feet equivalent ratio is, I also multiply that by 4. So 100 is the missing number that goes here. Now, I'm at 100 to 400. That's times 4. Sometimes you have to go back to what the initial ratio is. And in this case, I'm always going to go from the initial. So how do I go from 25 to 400? All right. If you can't know that, you can say, what is 100 times 4 is 400, and 25 times 4 is 100. So I know that 25 times 16 is 400. So now I multiply 100 times 16 to get 1600. There's a pattern here, and you can always use patterns. Hundreds, 400s, 1600s. Now, how do I go from 25 to 1600? It's probably going to be easier to go from 400 to 1600, which is times 4. So if I do 1600 times 4, if you don't know, you can doodle it over here. 0, 0, 24, carry my 2, 6,400. Okay? So when you're using a table, you're looking at the relationships through multiplication or division to find equivalent ratios. In example 2, you're finding a unit rate. You're going to have to use long division because a calculator is not allowed. So really what I'm doing is I have $9.60 for 4 pounds. My goal is to figure out how much 1 pound is. So I eliminate the denominator by division. I divide 4 by 4, which is 1, and $9.60 by 4. I'm going to have to do the long division. $9.60 by 4. 4 goes into 9 2 times. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 goes into 0 0 times. So my answer is $2.40 per pound. The last skill that you're going to be responsible for Lesson 5.1 is the complex fractions. The goal is to go ahead and simplify this and make this complex fraction have a denominator of 1. So I need to ask myself, what am I doing to 1/2 to get it to be 1? I'm going to divide by 1/2, which is the same as multiplying by 2. What I do to the top, I do to the bottom. 1/2 times 2 is 1. 5/4 times 2 is 10/4. Got to simplify it. 5/2 over 1. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.